Hi class, this is your video feedback for your Editing for the Web portfolio. This is your skeleton that you've submitted this week. We'll jump right in. Ariana, this is probably one of the better upgrades I've seen to this particular site, this template. You've made some changes and it works here. All right, you've stuck with primarily 2 fonts and that's perfect. Frequently, it's hard to read a script, but this is not difficult to read. I don't usually like italics, but it works here. And the image works as well, the colors. It's very nice. And you also have your copyright down here. I want to encourage everyone to go through the entire video. If you need to speed it up, fine. But please watch everyone's because you will find out a lot about what you need to do or what you want to avoid by watching everybody else's. All right. I also like your tagline. We very clearly know you're a writer, editor, and strategist. That's great. So I would suggest this is a capitalized experience, capital E, and this needs to have the shape that these have. We need to be consistent there and of course fit. In a case like this, you have to go smaller and match the others to the smallest, if that's what you have to do, or you have to make these bigger. Okay, very good. You have the Adobe Creative Cloud. And let's see, what I want you to do as well is list out the particular Creative Cloud applications you know, because in a keyword search, that's what they'll look for. They may not put Adobe Creative Cloud, but they may say they want Photoshop, Illustrator, InDesign, something like that. So it's really good to do that. All right. Nice and clean. Okay. This isn't necessarily matching your aesthetic. I realize it's an assignment. But what you can do is create a thumbnail that does match your aesthetic and then get us into that. Or let's see, I don't think this goes anywhere if we do that. But you want to start collecting things that will work with your aesthetic, or you want to create your aesthetic to work with your bulk of your projects that you create. Okay? All right. Let's see. Your contact, good. Yeah. The way you've used your fonts is working. So I think, let's see, I want to give you some good tips. I think you might want to move these over to the right a little bit. Consider if you want these to be all caps or if you want them to be in bold or, you know, a little more purple. Just think about it. It's fine the way it is, but you might want to bring it over here just to see how you like it. All right, good job. All right, let's see. This I think will be better if it's red, kind of black and red. And I feel like maybe all caps, or maybe something like this font. Again, I don't usually like italics. It works all right here. In this particular video, I think what you want to do is grab one of your other images, okay? Okay, I think you want to, other than the one that you have there, right? So let's choose a different thumbnail for your initial image. All right. And let's avoid, this is for everybody, let's not have tiled images, just one. And careful that we don't put type over faces or cut faces off. All right. This happens a few places today. So let's watch that. Text shouldn't be overlapping text. I prefer to see a thumbnail that isn't cut off. Here, the image is great, but again, it's tiled, so let's avoid that. great image, nice image. Do we want maybe this to be cropped, I think, and have some border here rather than it being adjacent like that? Okay. The read more works out. Again, here it looks good as a graphic, but better to be able to read what is here in your thumbnails. I would like to see gutter here too. So take a gutter here, bring this image over about to here, and continue that white space, that gutter right there. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you can just Google gutters and you'll see for graphic design. Okay, your fonts are working pretty good. I do like Hit Us Up. And let's go to your archives. So archives, that's typically for a blog. Unless these are podcasts, that can be an archive. This doesn't seem to be very long, or this one. So check that out. But otherwise, the blue is working for that. It doesn't work on the home page. We want to, I think you want to put an S here and an S here. And I think we want to actually get into this like that. Okay? So you can say always real, always 100, put an L here, and always pushing back the dark. So this is fine here, the way you have it. You might have a higher resolution photo of this. If you do, try using that. Different font here. Okay, this font isn't working with these two. Maybe this font would work better. A sans serif. Typically we'll put a serif with a sans serif or vice versa, and that works well. So same here, and yeah. Okay. And we need to get into this information much quicker. We know that it's a contact page, but I think we want to get in like this or this, and maybe find a place that's really great for this. You know, maybe it's going to be on your home page here, because you're going to clean this up. You're not going to have that duplicated like that, so you might have room there. And I think that might be a good thing there. And then that's going to come up like this. All right. All right. And these are going to go to, instead of the Wix site, these are going to go to yours. All right. So you may have to create something and keep it solely for your work when you do that. All right. Good job. Gavin, I love the cape. It's very magical. Let's make sure you have gutter space here. And I want to talk about this particular background. It's really recognizable as far as the template for Wix. So you want to think about that. Is that the one you want to use? And capitalize this I. Okay. It is kind of humorous. You could drop the color back a little bit. You know, make it a little faint, or you can put a transparent box here, a shape that allows you to see this a little more, maybe a little darker shade of this, 10% darker, and put that behind it, because we can't see what's going on here. You know, I guess if it were me, I would go ahead and cut this line out, or maybe not this line, but only have this much content here, because this is getting in the way of the background. Or you take the background into Photoshop and you get rid of that banana. It is overlapping this, so maybe this square comes up and this is someplace else. Maybe we link to your work, okay? Because, you know, we're just having a hard time pulling out this information. It's really getting busy, okay? The other thing about this, let's go ahead and update this to 2019 and put your name. The other thing, that's really important. Take this background and change it to this aqua if that's what you're going to use. Okay. Articles, is this a blog? If it is, say blog. And since you don't have anything here, wait. No. You have titles. You have, you've looked at it here, but you want to disable this until you have something. Okay. No placeholders. All right. I think I would crop this about to here. Okay. Maybe a little of this as well. All right. So cleaning up is what you want to do. So nothing really is overlapping this way. Okay. All right. Can't wait to see it again, Gavin. Jeremy, very familiar, and we're going to want to see examples of some of those small productions. Just a couple. We don't need a lot, just a sample. And let's pull the kerning in on this to make it more like this. Same here, same here. That is the space between the letters. Again, let's take the Adobe off if you're not comfortable with it. All right. We want to make sure your resume is actually entered text. So take all of this and enter it into a page. So they can actually and label this resume, so that when they click to it, to that page, you're going to add a page up here that says resume, along with some other navigation that you'll need. You'll need something to say experience, education, skills, although really that's all a resume. So I think what you're going to do is have works and a resume. Resume is going to be a whole page, and you're going to enter that information. Works is going to be a sample of some of the work that you've done. Then you can get rid of this. Okay, you're going to include that in your resume. You could and should, at seeing the length of your resume, you can simplify it. You can have a skills list on your resume that's really easy, and you're going to enter it so that it is searchable. So you'll put the different apps that you know. And no placeholder. I wouldn't have, your phone number personally. And this is your professional portfolio, so you don't have to put student. You're instead going to put what it is you are. If you're a budding cinematographer, then put cinematographer. If you're a photographer, put photographer. Here you're saying small production movies and skits. So filmmaker. And put whatever it is that you spend the most time at, what position you are the most familiar with and interested in, all right? Okay. And this doesn't match, so you might consider one or the other. Okay? All right. I'm looking forward to seeing this again with the updates applied. All right, thanks. Okay, I really like the gradients that you have here in the color and the font. I like the way that works together. I like the color pink. It's a little warm, but down here it's hot pink. So I think those need to match, one or the other. It's up to you. These might need to be a little narrow, even though I like the square, or it's kind of a rectangle, but I think maybe you'll get more out of your home page if you do it a little more like this. Maybe a little more space, but bring those down a little so that you can bring your home page up. And I'm going to talk about your home page in a second. Your logo, really hard to read. And you want to make sure it's created in Illustrator so you can scale it. the size. So marketing is a good font, but it's just way too small, okay? We really can't tell what you are doing. And once it gets to mobile, well, you know. So these are beautiful. These are beautiful images. They're cut off, don't like that. But more than that, we need to see something that, you know, I love this picture. Again, with this, I'm thinking you're going to want to go towards the hotter pink, a little more blue. So the problem is this doesn't tell us about what you do. All right. So what we really want is to clearly see that you are marketing, and we want to see a little bit of a sample of the work that you do. All right. This is great for an about page, but it's really cute, in fact, for an about page. But we really want this to be talking about the service that you have and kind of showing that. This is going to be your most important page in some ways. This I really like as an About Me page. This link isn't working, by the way. This is a great About Me page. Bring the space in a little bit on these letters, just a little, because it's not working there. The blog is going to work well. The colors work. But this really is something that I think should be your About Me. Okay. When I go to your About Me, I see a picture of you, but it takes a while for me to get into an introduction of who you are. This would be in your About Me page, written out. You don't have to say you're married or single. You don't have to say you worked all your life. You can have a resume. You can say hard worker and self-starter. This is interesting, competitive athlete, and this is interesting, okay? And, you know, you don't have to say you've moved back to the States, because you might want to work in Venezuela. You don't know. So this is your resume. Let's just add resume or experience as a button. I'm not sure that these are your works. And again, this is an About image. This isn't really, but we don't have About introduction. So I really like this is your About, with maybe, you know, you can add a photo of yourself here in black and white, or you can add your photo here and take this out, maybe crop that right there and replace that. I think black and white works great here because that's a very cool color, meaning temperature wise, and so black and white and gray looks good with it. But that's what I would do. I would take some of these photos out, as beautiful as they are. Passionate digital marketeer, that's great. I put it on your home page in some way. Let's make sure you either add a plugin that has languages, you know, as an option, or put it in English also. Okay, maybe a drop down or something. Let's not have screenshots. This needs to be entered. All right. And at least all your files need to be named, you guys. That's really important. Instead of this, you're going to say, you know, something like this, something brief that indicates what it is. That's also important for SEO, so your search engines can find it. Okay. You also can distribute pull out some of these reference comments and testimonials and put them in different places rather than have this. I think this aesthetic isn't quite working for you. I think that pink needs to be brought in, And this gray, you know, just the way the box is, isn't working, all right, aesthetically. And so this would be a capital D, a capital C. Think about what you have here, the style of this, and be consistent throughout. All right, so you're going to use that here. Okay. Think about the colors you're using. This would be better as you land on this page because it's a cooler color than this. It has a lot of orange in it and yellow. Okay. So everybody should only have their work, and there should be no placeholders. If you're in audio or something like that, you can have placeholder text because you're not telling them that you're creating visual work. And the blog isn't really coming up for me here. So if you don't have a blog, then you're going to have to disable that. All right. And try and get this up on one line, and I would make it more like this. Okay, this text, that is, this font. Remove your phone number. All right. Good. This goes to yours. Very good. Okay, so you're linked up to your social media. That's good. Again, use the first font, either this font or this one for headers, but be consistent. All right, good job. All right, what we have, I know you put a lot of work into this. We have two logos, or you could look at this as a header and this as a logo. Let's take this logo, make it small, and put it up here. All right, it's too busy behind all of this, so let's move it and not have it behind there. We want to then make these options a little bigger, align them at the top, and have the same amount of space between them. So you're going to clean those up. They're going to be bigger. Your MCBS journey. So this is your Full Sail blog, and that's okay. But make sure it's totally separate in the end. Okay, you can pull things from it, but your site needs to be just for that. Let's take this off. Okay, disable that. And these are your, this is misleading because it says reviews. We think that that's a review of your work, and it's really a review of someone else's in some cases, the Rise review, a peer feedback. So take that off and be judicious with your blog. Okay. And we are going to need to remove this. All right. We're not allowed to use the Full Sail logo, you know, when you graduate. So, and it doesn't really show your work. It would be misleading. These are logos and text designs and things. So take the Full Sail off. And this, again, you're going to move that. You could, you know, yeah, you can put it down here if you want. Be consistent, whatever you do. But that's what you're going to need to do because it's, and I love this personally. I hope these go to yours. Everyone wants an Instagram if you are in visuals. So I do like that, but it's still a little busy here, okay? And I think we need to disable this, okay? For now. Your Lynda certificates, what you want to do is go to your Lynda profile, go under certificates, and open them and share them on LinkedIn, okay? You can mention Lynda certificates, you know, like numerous certificates in primarily this particular topic or something, but by themselves, let's not do this, okay? And that's where it's taking us. So what you want to do, as I said, is upload each individual one to your LinkedIn if they're important. And you don't have to use them all. Use the ones that apply to what you really want to get work in, okay? Not sure that you need a box here. I don't think you need a box. And let's see how this looks when you take this off. You're going to bring it up a little bit, and oh, here we go. Cut it down to about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 lines or so, and see what it looks like when you have your logo moved. All right, you've done a lot of work, and it really shows. Alec, hey. Okay. I feel like it's changed just a little from the last time I saw it. Or no, actually it hasn't. Let's make these smaller. Let's go ahead and change your copyright here. Make these images smaller. Maybe not the first one. I do want to be able to get into this quicker and see the whole thing. I'm thinking you take Alec and Ennis, put this Ennis all the way over here and Alec here. Well, you know, basically write it out here and align it left. Portfolio. I'll let you decide what you want to do with that, but it would have to move to get this here and up like that. Could be smaller up here and be an active link. And then you would have this up on your front page. I would like that. These, I want you to size them to where they fit into a grid and have the same amount of spacing between all of them. Okay. Right now, they are buried and not aligned. That's really important to make each one actually be more interesting and have a clean page. So let's go up here. I don't mind this, but here's what's happening. In order to get to your navigation, we have to click and then click instead of one click. Just keep it in mind. Fewer clicks is best. Make sure all your headers are the same size. This, you know, notice how everything is in a grid and lined up. That's what you're going to do, but you're going to disable this until you have actual posts. Okay, disable that page and the store page. This one didn't load. So that's going to have to be corrected, and you're going to have to upload some of your projects, okay? This I like. You're going to work that out. I do like it stacked, but, you know, we want to get into this. This image needs cleaning up. It needs to be a little higher contrast and resolution. So, and let's break this here instead of at a sentence, all right? Break it at the end of a sentence. You might be able to fix this in Photoshop. That's what I would do. And yeah, I'd like to get into it about like this and have your name here. And maybe this font, but much smaller. I do like the large font. I want to be able to get into your content, so keep that in mind, all right? Whether it means bio is over here and big and you cut this down and this is stretched out, you know, might look a little stacked, but you can try it, all right? Good job. Amber, let's take off student and aspiring, all right? Just put video content producer and photographer and take the period out. All right. And you're going to bring all that up, I think maybe to here anyway. Let's see, let's take this box off. Can't read the About Me. You can put it here. Let's change this font to something a little more serious, just a little, all right? And had a little more padding here. Let's see. Not crazy about this seam. I'd almost rather have this again here to separate it. And then when that happens, bring this and this up a little. But here's the thing. You've got film and you have photography. You don't mention film. Well, you do say video content producer. Are you a videographer primarily? Because that might be what you want to put down, videographer. And these links, you want to take this box off when you get here, take this, put it up here as a title, and get into it that fast, like this. All right, so we can get into your work. If the resolution isn't very high, you might want to reduce this in size. All right, and update your copyright. So I'd rather see, okay, film. Yeah, this one doesn't work. I want you to choose between a gallery and photography. I think photography. You may not even need any of this because really it's just multiple clicks. I want to see a different font here, maybe all caps, and again in that same text that you're going to change to a little more serious. So show reels. Yeah, let's take this out, and when you go to show reel, put this here. Ultimately, you're going to edit a piece where you have a few things here, okay? So you have like a sizzle reel here. Here's the thing, you've got a gallery, and we want to make sure that these images are actually related to each other. I get a sense of what you do, but for example, this is a behind the scenes, and this is a little bit behind the scenes. So in the future, when you have a gallery, it looks better to have borders because we're jumping around from theme, and it really needs some breathing space, all right? But you have your photography page also. We just don't need this. I don't even think we need the background here. But you see, this is better because you have it laid out better. You really only need one or the other. In fact, you've got some multiple pictures here that are duplicated. Okay, this, of course, you have to work out. This is a nice colorful image to bring people into. This was a great shot. It looks less bright here for some reason. I don't know if it's because of what it's next to or because this is not white. So yeah, I would probably make this white or black just to accent your work a little better. I see it's the container here. I would get rid of that along with this box. Now, see, this is where I want to see your navigation still. So we want to work with that because I have to know to do this. And then we come right back to a page that asks us to click a little more. So let's just take all this page out. And now we have film, which, you know, I think, yeah. Okay. Okay, so you're going to have home, about, show reel, and photography. Okay, or film, photography. Let's do that. Home, about, film, photography. Take gallery out. Take show reels out for film. And you're going to cut this down a little bit. Most of these are hospitality, where you're talking about ensuring an excellent experience. So go ahead and say, you know, ensuring an excellent experience and courteous service for, and then use this, and then the companies. All right. I'm not sure that for this purposes, in your downloadable you can, but for this purpose I don't think you need to list the shopping center, let's say. And you can say cashier / sales. You don't have to say what you did, because most of us understand what that is. All right, we have a good idea of what's involved with that, so that will greatly cut this down. And you're going to do that throughout. For example, front office and admin support, you don't have to put that you did these things, okay? Because that is an occupation or job that most people are familiar with, front office, okay? So that's what you want to do here, okay? And we don't need more, we just need a contact. All right, so let's put resume instead of experience, because they may think experience relates to your film work, in which case you would have at that time, and you will one day, list the work, the films you've been produced or worked with, and your job on that, what you did for that, okay? And that's what you would list, just films you've worked on, okay? So contact, let's simplify all of this, and honestly, I think what you're going to want to do is, yeah, this is what I think you should do. I think you should give this background up, okay? Give that up throughout. Choose like a gray or something like this, gray, black, or white, and use that throughout. I mean, maybe here you want the gray or the blue. You're going to take that out and put your consistent header font here, changing this, and you can put that here, your new one, all caps, and you're taking all this out. You're taking this out, and instead you're taking this out. Instead, you're going to have a smaller button that says get in touch, but it's going to be here. It's just going to say contacts. You're going to have about home, about, film, photography, resume, contact. Okay, take these buttons off and get a little simpler, just simple and consistent. And this can be on that same gray, white, or black background, because as a photographer and filmmaker, that's going to show off your work best. All right, good job. Did that. Okay. Angelica, I like this. I like that this is centered, but we've got to get down to one navigation bar. Okay, you choose which one. I think over here. Okay, so take this off, and it's laid out pretty well. Make sure all your videos in the future are horizontal, not vertical. Easy to read. Okay, make sure you go through and have no typos. I would take off your age, because that will not be evergreen. You would have to keep going back and fixing that. So best not to have your age. You just want to show your work, what you're capable of doing. All right. You do want to tell them exactly what it is you do. Here you're saying, you know, I think maybe it's down here somewhere, that maybe you're a vlogger. But okay. Go through and make sure you want your student work to be shown. Okay. Pull what you want into your professional portfolio, but don't use your school portfolio. Okay. This needs to be entered and not a picture of words. Very important. The layout is fine, but you need to enter that. Let's move contact to the end. And eventually you're going to want to get something other than a student email, so that might be a Gmail. Let's take this off. Anything that says we're not here, you just disable that page, disable that content, and remove anything that refers to it in other words. You could put a form here, but definitely change this. Okay, home is going to be on the left. All right, let's say resume. For the same reasons, experience indicates work in the field. So until that's the majority and that's what you're showing them only, you just put resume. All right, good job. All right, Savannah, I like this. That works. Consider if you want to have this flush left. And I don't think they're aligned. This looks like it's below that. That's something to consider. And this S is not the same as this one. It should be. And the background, I understand why you chose it, but it's not consistent, and it really isn't supporting your brand as I look through. Okay, so I would take that background off. This also, I don't think it supports what I'm seeing. You know, quite honestly, you've got a very natural look that you are showing us. You know, I mean, people have varied looks, but this is the one you're presenting here. And so you want to make sure your brand is sticking to your color palette. Create a color palette from this and stick to it. You want some space here. Okay. Good job on this. And I know you know it's really tempting to have a background like this, but when we go into your and again, I don't think you're going to need that in two places. So let's take that off. Just have this be your about. Okay, we don't even need it then because you've got this. So let's take this background off. I think the S off because it's not fitting yet. This can be your logo. You can try putting that S in front of this and working with that. An SV would make a great logo, but this by itself, it isn't quite feeling like a logo or your brand that I'm catching here. So when we go to video content, that's where you can have this. Let's start a dream come true. Instead of putting a word underneath, put the A up here. You might want to try it there. Cute puppy magic. Put cute up here. Make sure the spacing is consistent between videos. It is aligned. That's great. Good job. I wish everybody did that. Okay, articles written. Here's the thing. This is very sports oriented, and that's what you're telling us you're doing. These are your, you know, concepts here. So this background is very poetic. All right. So I think you need something that is a little more sports oriented or very natural. So this could be very sporty. It's fine. This could be an editor profile. It's good. It actually also works with the green just fine. But that's what you're going to need to do. You're going to have to find a way to pull this in. Okay? This font isn't quite working when we get to, we've got kind of real soft, dreamy that we're going for, but the sports doesn't fit like that. So you want to make a choice. Okay? And I think what you want to do is make the choice for a little bit stronger, sporty direction. And so this font would change. Okay? And yes, it would change the aesthetic for all of this. But I think that's what you want to do, because I feel like you're going to get work in this kind of thing. If these are yours, and I thought I saw your name here somewhere, so if this is a placeholder or something, let me know. But this tells me, you have a love for sports. This is actually a very good about me. Okay, I would put that here, that content here. Needs to be a little bigger. Tighten this up, and yeah, even if this were just on white, I know it looks nice by itself, but just for everything else, not as much. You could use a color like this, and that would work. Okay, I hope. If you have any questions about what I'm kind of leading towards, contact me and we'll discuss it. All right, good job. All right, Alex, I'm going to say something very similar. I think we want to get rid of this blue. I think the colors that I'm sensing are more natural. Let's move. I know it looks pretty cool when you have the spider web behind this, but let's get rid of it. Bring this all the way to the left, this background, all the way across the width of your site. This is good. Let's pull this up so it's not by itself. Let's take this blue off. Let's take this color if you like and stretch it all the way across the bottom. Okay. Let's make something great. That's a nice call to action on your contact page, but it doesn't tell us what we're making. Okay, so you're right here, you're going to tell us the service. You're going to, and it's little, just a couple of words, what it is you do. So we know the minute we hit this page, and you guys, we need to put that on every page, because people come to your site from any page. We don't always know. So we want to make sure that you are telling them, and they don't have to ask or search for what it is you do. We see it here. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about this too. Okay, so let's do that. This is interesting. If you want to make a little web back there on this one, fine. Like you want to make this the whole width and have that behind it, fine. But let's not have anything moving. All right. So let's go here. Let's take off anything that is full sale. Unless you created this and they used it, in which case, but if it's student work, here's the thing. When you graduate, anything that was once free to use through fair use copyright, you can't use it anymore because you're not a student anymore. So it's important while you're creating your portfolio to keep that in mind. Otherwise, you're going to have to change everything when you start. So the things that are acceptable by law for students changes the minute you are professional, when you graduate, all right? So let's take these off because it looks like, Full Sail hired you. And there's a couple other things about it. This is your longboard. What you can do here is have your longboard campaign. You can add the sketches, align everything, your layouts, and have a campaign here for longboards. Okay, and I would make it graphic design. If you photographed this, if you did, then you can put that photography, I think I would make it graphic design with a drop down of photography on a page, or videography with a drop down of photography. Okay, and stick to just graphic design here, and you can have a drop down of campaigns like your longboard. And then if you have another one, when you guys use a drop down, make sure it doesn't cover up anything that's important. If it's just bare space or a background, fine, but it can't cover up an image, like someone's head, eyes, and it can't cover up fonts or headers. All right, very important. This is laid out nice. Okay, and here's the thing, looking at your work previously, this is where I get the idea that it's a very kind of an earthy feel. So that's why I want you to drop the blue and just go towards this earthy, warm, natural, neutral colors, really. You can have one accent, but then neutrals. And it's fine to have just two pieces here, you guys. It's nice and clean. There's no scrolling. There it is. But oddly enough, there is no scrolling at all. News. I think what we want to do, I'm not sure this ever came up. So either it's way too large a file, or it's not actually linked and you need to disable it. Okay? But otherwise, you've got a good site going. It's very simple and clean, and that's the direction you want to go in. Good job. All right, James. Okay. Let's close this space up. And when we are crossing over these, let's make sure it's a brighter color. It can be this bright green. It can be something that you pick up in your aesthetics. One of these colors, but let's make sure it's not that red. It's too hard to see. This is a little dark and hard. We just need more contrast here. All right. Okay. Let's move your contact to the bottom. This is a little small. We want it a little bit bigger. And I think we want it to reach from here to here. And I think, okay, this probably can't go much smaller, but I would like to see it align with this in some sense, I think. It's going to look different when you bring this up. This might need to be all caps. Okay, it's a good font. Good font. Okay, and that's a great picture, by the way. Okay. So this is your, okay, good. Let's go ahead and lay this out differently so that, it's not cut off. Let's just go ahead and instead of having, let's use this, okay? Use this for this page and it'll look really nice. I've seen it done recently. Okay, so here's the thing. How do I get back? I have to go backwards. We don't want to do that. Okay, so, okay, somewhere up here there's an X there. All right, so what you want to do when you hit this design is you're going to go straight to your campaign, all right, for that. And when you have others, you're going to add that. And the beauty of a drop down or having it, your navigation up here, is that you can add a drop down. A little tougher on the left. So I really think you probably need a top navigation. And I don't want to see things cut off. So let's go ahead and use your whole campaign for that page. And then what you're going to do is in your drop down, let's say you have your another campaign, and you're going to have like a white bar across the bottom that divides it, and you're going to have your second campaign that will link up, anchor to that. Okay, so all of them can be on the same page, on a one page, but they're going to link to that particular campaign through the navigation. If you need clearer explanation of that, let me know. Again, we're going to bring your images closer together. Even if you only have two, that's what we're going to do. And rather than have to click to open it, just go ahead. Okay, so what this means is that when it's coming up slowly, it means that it needs to be optimized. The file is a little too big. Okay. And let's go ahead and make this like maybe 3.5 inches deep, okay, and the others too, and see how those fit together instead of clicking. Okay, so we want to get fewer clicks. We want to see your work. The color's good, works really well with this. If that's your aesthetic, great, keep it up. You might want to put this here, divide these up, put this one here actually, and that will work nicely. Bring this over, bring this over, bring this over, and those will work really well together. Okay, good. Okay. This is pretty self-explanatory in the title, but usually what you want to do is have a very simple line about what it is and what you did for this movie. Okay, some context for what you're doing. Okay. All right. Yeah, I think you're going to like it when you move this up. Okay. I do want to see your contact. Okay, you want to take this space out a little bit, and you have your placeholder text here, so you want to get rid of that. You can just bring this all the way up like that. People like to see where it ends and begins. Okay, so put that here and bring all this up. Good job. Okay, Kashuna. I love that it says digital creative. Okay. I love the colors that you have. This is a great page. I'm hoping this is your background. If it's not, you need to put a picture, hopefully, that you've done being a digital creative. We need to do away with this, too much space. Put something there. No placeholder, just your work. Okay. All right. Okay, no placeholder. I like this all right. This color isn't working. Try going into one of the, update this. Try going into one of the color tools, like Adobe Color, all these different things where you can come up with a palette that works for you. Right now, what you've got is gray, black, white, and this accent gold. And that's what you need to stick with, right? There's no about me, no content. Okay. All right. Needs some work, my friend. All right. Okay. Okay. Let's simplify that where it's not jumping. Make sure the color here can be read. Little space under this, some padding. I don't usually like italic. I'm gonna let it go for this one. A little space here in front of social media. This is a little hard to read, believe it or not. I know that I can see it. You know, it's not hard to see, it's just hard to read. So I would, the size is good, but it may need to be a sans serif and it may need to be up or lower. All right. Placeholder, we want to get rid of that. This is good. And this works out because you have some padding around your description. And so it's not too bad. A little more would be good, you know, here, but it is what it is at this time. Change the name of this to longboard. Yeah, you're gonna have to affect the size. Yeah, we gotta have just a simple name that tells us what's up instead of the file name. That's for everybody. Okay. Strangely interesting. Nothing's really happening, but it's interesting. Yeah, and so this color is working throughout. I'm not sure that the marble works, however, and I would go for full width and leave some space here. Yeah, I would go full width, and you can either use this color, pull something out, make sure that you've got an aesthetic that is consistent. All right. This would be a great about me photo. I'm not crazy about, yeah, the marble connected to that. Stick with what you've started because it's a unique shot here. Okay, this is a little more individual, I think. All right. All right. You're going to bring all this up. Get rid of this. This isn't really a contact page. It seems like an Instagram. And that's what I would recommend. You have a link to your Instagram. Hard to see this social media. And right now they're going to the Wix. So you want to go to yours and you want to update your copyright. All right. Good job. It's a great start to something that I think can really be unique. All right. All right, this is coming up a little slow, so let's not have a fade on that. But I love that you say exactly what it is you do, journalist, host, producer. Nice photo. Let's see, if we go to about, okay. Let's do away with some of this black space, bring it up, and not crazy about a picture of words. I think we need to take this out and put these things someplace else. Okay? These are quotes you like, but let's pull this in and use this in this here and bring it up a little. You need maybe some black space here. And we don't have a consistent look here. These are images. If you've got a blog, then link to that blog and curate it. But we're a little spotty here. You know, we've got something small. We can't read a lead into that. Let's have a consistent, contextual, short description, you know, read here for more kind of thing. Make it really consistent. All right. All right. Okay, I like this. We need to enter it. and this can be your downloadable. And so that does mean that you're going to need to, paste that in somewhere and work with the text. Okay. All right. And this one goes to you, so that's good. Nope. All right. You need to send these to your site. Okay. All right. But the aesthetic is good. Let's keep this. All right. And maybe use this font again somewhere. You do. Good. Good, good. Maybe here we need to say about. Okay. Yeah. All right. All right, Becca. I like that you're a marketing strategist right here. We can see what you do. I think this needs to be a little bigger, maybe all caps. Let's take this image out and just have this and this. You can make this a little wider. Make sure, video is very slow. Make sure that we are getting the aesthetic that you really want. I think what I would do is take this image into Photoshop and take out this color. Take out the background. The image is good otherwise. And let's, I think for you, use this wine color and this little bit of blue and this color. Just stick with a palette that works with. Okay. This needs 2 paragraphs, okay? And this needs a lot of space under it. So probably you can bring this down and just have the footer with social media lists and things like that, icons, okay? We don't need this to have so much in it. Let's make this font, we don't need the 3D effect on it, or drop shadow, however it is you created it. We just, it would be fine by itself. Make sure that it is consistent with whatever font you're using here. So either this one or this one. Okay, that's what you're going to put here in the same color, in the same size. Make sure the bullets are the same. These are great lists of skills. You might say services though. Real world marketing services. You might have to stack it differently. Okay. Always pay attention to how much space you have between things. This is up or lower. So let's make this, wait a minute. Yeah, this is compressed or a different font. If I look at the A's, for example, really different, right? That's one way we can tell. We look at the T's, which you don't have, but you have an E. So we can look at the E's and any R that might be there. Yeah, totally different font. So let's go back and use the one you have on the front page. And because we don't have anything here, we don't put anything here. We never say that, this is a temporary page, work is coming. What I want you to do is look at, even if it's your student work, let's put a couple of things in here. I'm not sure, eventually you're going to remove this video background because it is very common and it will slow your site down, all right? If you like the color, then just use one of the colors that's in there for a solid background. we want to get your work in here, okay? So that's something that you're going to start doing for sure. Completely new color here. The font, see it's a serif, so we want to change that. And let's have all this align left. Yeah, so basically everybody just wants to be really consistent with your headers, the color, the size, the font. You want to, and usually where they're placed, you want to make sure that you have 2 fonts, one for headers, one for body copy. And you want to be consistent with those. And you want your few page breaks. Okay, like when we come to this page, it's really nice not to have it split. Okay, if you want it down here as a footer, okay, but you know, we really don't want to split things up very much. We want to make sure we have high contrast. Take your phone number off here, Becca. Not just because it's zeros, but I don't believe in people just putting their phone numbers all the time. You know, they can contact you through email. All right, so good job, everybody. I'm looking forward to seeing where these things go, because I will see these when you hit web design. So consider what your SMART goals are going to be. And for you, Becca, one of your SMART goals is going to be to put some of your portfolio pieces in here. All right, good job.